Hello and welcome once again to the show that fuels your appetite for adrenaline and alternative sports. Coming up this week, we're in Minnesota, USA for stop 2 on the Red Bull Crashed Ice Championships. Then we stay in the USA but turn our attentions to World Cup Archery as Las Vegas plays host to the largest indoor tournament in the world. All that to come, but first we're off to Fiberbrun, Austria for stop 3 on the Swatch Freeride World Tour. At the previous stage of the Swatch Freeride World Tour in Chamonix, the riders put on a spectacular display of competition freeriding that saw new talents emerging to take the top spots. The tour now moves from the Mont Blanc Massif to Fiberbrun in the Austrian Tyrol for the third stage of the 2014 World Tour.
Fiberbrun is a real favorite among the riders, and I think there are two reasons for that. One is that skiing here is great and the snow is good here, the terrain is nice and varied and you can hit a lot of fun features. And the history of skiing in Austria is long, and you can tell that the Austrians are into skiing. It's serious for them. You really feel welcome. The ambience here is super nice as well.
Fiberbrun is definitely a main spot for freeriders because it offers so many options. You can ride everything from big mountain lines to easy lines to tree runs. I think there's something for everybody here.
Last year I ended up second on the qualified tour, and so I was qualified for this year's tour by mid-Feb already. So I got a wild card for Fiberbrun, and this was my first contest on the World Tour I ever did. I was kind of nervous coming here the first time, but it went well and I ended up second, which gave me a wild card to Verbier, which I won. So I've got great memories from this place and from last year.
Fiberbrun was one of my highlights of last winter. It was my first time on the podium in first position, and to experience this at home in Austria was a very special moment for me because my friends were there, my mom was there, and that was just great.
Welcome in Fiberbrun, Kitzbühler Alpen for the second lap of the Junior Freeride Tour by the Kind. Snow is not great, but I know we will see who are the best skiers today.
Paul Sartelli from the Saint Gervais area continued his dominance of the snowboard category, taking his second win of the season. Maud Best took first place in the skiing women's category and was the only girl to take and stomp the big air at the top section. In the 14 to 15-year-old ski category, Raphael Huber put in a confident run that would have placed him well in the older age group. While in the 16 to 17-year-old category, Carl Renval of France took on the face like a true pro. Using all the features he could, he hit the biggest air of the day, linking the run with powerful turns and winning with a top score of 93.33 points.
Well, here we are for the third stop of the Freeride World Tour and the second stop for the Junior Freeride World Tour. The contest has just finished right behind us. It was a great venue despite some difficult snow conditions. All the young riders showed great potential and promise for the future. Very happy. The snow was a bit tough. I was scared about the landing on a few of my jumps. I didn't want to go over the handlebars, but I'm stoked to have finished my run without falling. That's good enough.
As usual, the juniors wrapped up their weekend with safety workshops, this time learning how to evacuate a casualty off the mountain. It's been a difficult winter so far in the Alps, and Mother Nature once again called the shots in Fiberbrun. The riders came up as normal to do their visual inspection of the contest face, the mighty Wildsee Loader. But as the holding period progressed, the face, already lacking in snow, started to become increasingly wind affected, meaning difficult riding conditions and a risk of avalanche. And so the option was taken to change the contest venue.
We've decided that we don't have sufficient conditions to run a competition tomorrow and Sunday on Vilseloder.
So with a few hours' notice, the riders packed up all their gear and headed for Kappel, a neighbouring resort in the Tyrol with great snow conditions and plenty of freeride terrain.
This event has been very tough in terms of snow and weather conditions. We had a good venue in Fiberbrun on Wednesday and the Föhn wind killed it in 2 days. So we had to change plans, be flexible, and due to fantastic work with the Fiberbrun crew and the Kappel crew, we were able to move 140 people within 36 hours.
Yeah, so we got up this morning at sunrise and the venue just looks beautiful. It filled in with some extra snow overnight. Conditions looks great, so I think everyone is pretty amped up to hit this thing.
Of course it's difficult to start looking at a new face when you have your line made up already. And you choose your line in Fiberbrun and then you have to change it and start all over again. It takes a lot of energy, but also it's good because this face in the snow looks much better. So it's going to be pretty fun to ski it.
The morning started in glorious fashion for the snowboard women as they hiked along the ridgeline to the summit of the 2,800 metre high Karlspitz. Aussie rider Amber Schucker built on her previous second place in Chamonix with a solid third place in Cappy. Riding fluidly down the face, she took a creative line mixed in with some airs to score 66.75 and take her into second place overall in the rankings. Swiss rider Estelle Ballat continued the momentum she started in Chamonix, getting a third place with her run in Kappel. Ballat's run saw her head up a nice selection of features, which she linked fluidly to score 69.75. The second place put her joint second overall in the rankings with Amber Schucker. A fine start to the season for both of these tour rookies. But it was Shannon Yates who once again dominated the category. Yates rode a solid line top to bottom, controlling her board at speed despite some pretty variable snow. Yates then navigated well through the technical sections of the course, putting in some good airs and throwing turns in the powder. Yates scored 73.75 to take her second first place of the season, putting her firmly at the top of the rankings going into the second half of the season.
I feel absolutely amazing. I took first place here in Kappel. I hit more features than normal for me, and I executed my line exactly how I wanted it. So 2 wins in a row really makes me confident that I've got a shot at the overall win and world champion.
In the men's snowboarding, a small group of riders continued to dominate the category with everyone else playing catch-up. Emilian Badu followed up his first place from Chamonix the week before with a third place run in Kappel. Riding strongly from the start, Badu linked a series of features but perhaps just lacked a bit of speed to score higher. He ended his run with 76.25 and a third place, leaving him comfortably third overall in the snowboard men's rankings. Ralph Backstrom hadn't really found his flow so far this season and started once again in bib number 1. Backstrom must have wondered if he was going to be the fall guy once again, testing the snowpack for the rest of the riders. But Backstrom found good snow for himself, picking a fast, fluent line down the face. He then worked his way through the technical rocky sections of the face before launching a huge air off the lower cliffs. Backstrom scored well with 80 points, taking a much needed second place that had put him safely in the middle of the overall rankings.
I ended up second today, really stoked to finally get a podium this year. Since I went first, I set the bar, I guess, fairly high for the day. It's always a little nerve-wracking watching the other riders come down.
But it was fellow Squall local Sami Lubka, the current tour leader, who would squeak past Backstrom to take first place. Lubka rode a very similar line to Backstrom, both riders very fluid in the top section with very little to separate them on the first set of cliffs. But it was on the lower section where Lubka just edged ahead of Backstrom, doubling the cliff bandit speed and landing it with perfect control. The scores reflect the closeness of the contest though, with Lubka winning with only 1.25 points more than Backstrom's 80-point ride. The win in Kappel, Lubka's second of the season, puts him fairly into the lead of the snowboard men's category.
I mean, after 3 stops to get a couple wins and a 5th even, I couldn't be happier. Definitely puts me in a good spot to kind of just relax and go and have fun like I normally like to do. And today was a super fun day, and the snow ended up being a lot better in it, so I'm glad I could just put it down and come out with a good score and know that I rode my best. Overall, I'm standing first still. It's pretty cool to be the leader from Cormayer all the way to here, so pretty stoked right now.
And we'll be back in Austria after the break. And still to come, it's World Cup archery from the USA and highlights from stop 2 of the Red Bull Crashed Ice Championships. See you in a couple of minutes.